Hi, guys, and welcome to Keep Hope Alive podcast. I'm Nadine, your wonderful host. We got today Marques Ogden, and he is our new sponsor here. Welcome, Marques. But
Thanks for
a
having me
little
on, Nadine. How are you?
doing good. How are you doing today? I love that smile. It's
I'm
so
doing
good.
I'm doing
Good.
very well, thank you.
As a photographer, I'm always looking for good cheekbones and smiling, and you got those. So that's a compliment. But his past, he's a former NFL player, and I'm going to let him tell you if he wants to go into that. We're going to get to know you today. He's a keynote speaker, he's an author, and he's actually, besides also, you have your own podcast too, and we'll learn about and go there. So, and you love being on stage, I heard.
That is
Imagine
correct.
that.
That is correct.
Well, well, really quick, before we even get started, I got a random question for you. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. How many weddings have you been to in the past, let's say 15 years?
Let's see. One, two, three, four, eight. Probably about 10 or 12.
That's good. Are you, wow, that's a lot. I was like, are you in the industry also?
No.
No.
I've had a lot of friends from college get married, as family members get married. Of course, I had my own wedding at that time as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 10 to 12.
That's good. That's good. Well, the reason I ask is lifeonrecord.com is one of our sponsors here. So usually during the ceremonies going in and you're the guest, they have to sign a guest book, right? To say they were there for the bride and groom. Oh, they were here.
Mhm.
Well, Life on Record doesn't do a guest book. They give you a vintage rotary phone. So your guests can go in, pick up this phone and be like, congratulations on your wedding, many years of
Wow.
happiness. Or you can have one of the groomsmen being like, hey, dude, it's about time you put that ring on her finger, you know. So they
Yeah, I like
also,
that.
I know, right next to the phone, they have a QR code that your guests can take out their own mobile device and scan it. And they can leave a message either before or after the wedding, also. But, as I say, wedding, you could do this for any event. And what it is really the gift of voice, hearing your friends, family talking, and everything. So, what they do after they get all these messages, you have a choice. So, you can get it burned on a 12-inch vinyl record, or they have a keepsake speaker, and I call it the little boom box. And you get this phone number for a year. So if you are using it for a wedding, I say, you know what? Remind your friends and family like 2 or 3 months before your 1 year anniversary, call back, happy anniversary. And then they'll probably burn
Hmm.
those too. So,
Hmm.
which is really cool. So the plans start at $99. Like I said, phone number for a year. If you want more information, please visit them at www.lifeonrecord.com. All right. So my question to you is, Marques Ogden, who are you and how did you get to where you are today?
So I'm Marques Ogden. I'm from Washington, D.C. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Actually, more particularly, I live in Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. I bought my dream home about 8 months ago after filing for divorce in July of 2022. And I grew up in DC. I went to St. John's College High School. Then I went to the Howard University in Washington, D.C. I studied business finance there. I ended up getting drafted to the National Football League in 2003 by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and my head coach was Jack Del Rio. I had an amazing almost 6-year NFL career with the Jaguars, Ravens, Bills, and I finished off with the Tennessee Titans. Played with some great teammates, some great coaches, learned some great life lessons, learned some great business lessons. I tell everybody, Football is a business. It is a business with pads and with helmets. It is a straight business. They make a
Business.
lot of money, but the owners make a lot of money too. So from there, I struggled when I left the NFL. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have the next phase of my life figured out. I didn't know what to do next. And as a result of that, I got into some alcohol addiction issues. I got into some gambling issues. I got into some nightlife issues, painkillers, and I got hooked on those things for about 6 to 9 months. Finally, I put myself in a position to get myself better. Then I started a construction company in 2008, and I built it to be the largest African American owned subcontracting company. As a matter of fact, on my forearm is my tattoo of Caden Premier Enterprises with the skyline of Baltimore. That
Oh,
was my
wow.
company name, and that was where I worked in Baltimore. But unfortunately, this tattoo is also a great reminder of how much I was believing my own hype. I was believing my own crap, and I wasn't in a position of actually listening to people, wanting to get better, wanting to help others. And as a result of that, I got myself in a position where I ended up losing all of my best employees, losing all of my money. I got into a bad job, and I had to move to Raleigh from Baltimore, and I had to file a Chapter 7 complete bankruptcy. When I got to Raleigh, my home in Baltimore was foreclosed on. When I got here, both cars were repossessed in the same day. I was basically down and pretty much almost out. I had $400 left in my name, and I was almost homeless when I moved here. Thank goodness the NFL helped me with the Gene Upshaw Trust Fund, and I did not go homeless. And then from there, worked a couple different jobs, was fired from 2 jobs in the same week. I had to work a
Oh,
job as a custodian, and I was in here for a moment. I ended up having my rock bottom moment as a custodian where somebody's trash, rotten meat, spoiled, protruding, nasty milk
ew.
got all over my body, my skin, and
Milk.
my clothes. And that was my wake up call. And at that moment, I said, I'm either going to be one of the two V's, a victim or a victor. I said, I'm going to try to be a victor. And at that moment, Nadine, I launched our company, Ogden Ventures LLC, and I started pursuing speaking in September of 2013.
Wow. Look at you. You're a rock star. Everybody goes through challenges, definitely. And when you talked about, being a custodian, I was actually in commercial cleaning job as an operations manager. So I totally get it. Now, milk, milk, that's bad. I remember I threw it like a football at the dumpster. It was on Valentine's Day. Oh my goodness, memories. This is many years ago. But it was like, I'll never find love. And I threw this milk up and it hit it and came back and splattered all over me. And this,
Yep,
yeah,
I've been
those just,
there. It's
there's
the
something
worst.
about milk.
When
But
you're
it,
sitting
those are,
there, and what happens is, well, I don't know about for you, but for me, there was no accountability, there was no responsibility, and I was living a life of blaming others, my business partner, my employees, the developer, the contractor, the clients, the city, everybody. Everybody's fault it was but Marcus. And finally, I had to have my rock bottom moment. And one of my favorite people on earth is J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. And she ended up saying that rock bottom is the moment that she rebuilt her life. So for me, I've had to really scrape and scrounge and claw and like I said earlier in the awesome interview. I mean, I filed for divorce. I mean, I my when I started speaking, things didn't move fast at all. No paid jobs for 2.5 years. Up, down, all around. Free jobs, told no, rejection, free, rejection, you name it. Finally got my first paid job, April 2016. started getting better, got coached in 2018, things got better. COVID hit, and me and my spouse we worked through it, and things were moving in the right direction. Then after COVID, some other things happened in our marriage, and I think between the COVID thing that happened, and then my stepdaughter going to college, and some other things, we just didn't communicate well, and then just had some issues, and then
Yeah.
I had to file for divorce in July of 2022. So I had to go through that process. And imagine, you talk about keep hope alive and all that. I was
Yeah.
living in the same house with her from July 26th until November 1st, having to
Hmm.
live there, having to be there, and it was so hard. It was so hard. Then I moved out of there to a two-bedroom apartment that was really dilapidated. It was really this dirty, and it was in a not great area, and it was expensive too. It was $2,800 a month for this place. And it was just, I was in a furnished apartment. The furniture was old, it was dark, things were constantly breaking. I had a super small bathroom and a super small closet, and it was just horrible. And I had to live there for 7.5 months, and I didn't even want to be there. Like I remember my daughter was we had because with my divorce, it's a schedule. We are 50-50 custody. It's two
Yeah.
two five. So I have my daughter every Monday, Tuesday. Her mom has her every Wednesday, Thursday, and we alternate weekends. So
Yeah.
when I have her for those days when she was with me, I mean, I just felt so much like a failure because I'm like, well, how am I going to be out here coaching people and helping people and speaking and all this stuff? And I'm sitting here in this two-bedroom apartment, broken down, things aren't working. My bathtub always is like just clogging up. Farrah doesn't even like staying in her room because it's like just dark. And she says, Daddy, Daddy, I hope this isn't a thing, but this is such a small, and she called it an office because she was 8 at the time. It's such a small place, and that stuff hurts. It hurts. And I kept hope alive. I kept just saying, okay, I gotta find a way. I gotta find a way. I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep going. And in January of 2023, I made the decision I was going to get my life together. I was going to stop feeling sorry for myself. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try to buy a house. And then went to try to buy the house. Oh, by the way, Marcus, if you want to buy the house, you're going to have to pay, about, basically, you have to pay about 50 grand of back taxes that you owed, but when you were married, if you want to qualify. I found this out after I put down my deposit. So then I'm sitting there like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I panicked. You talk about keep hope alive. I was like,
Yeah.
what do I,
My eyes
what,
are like, whoa.
what do I have? I have a brand. Okay. So I said, okay, I'm going to start trying to sell different services off this brand. And I got my first client, and that client paid me heavily to work with them in that regard. I said, oh, if I could sell this, I could sell that, I could sell that. And I did it. I paid down
Mm.
the debt. I paid down the divorce attorney, which is another like $40,000. I paid the IRS got their money in full, so they were happy. I was able to move into a brand new home that nobody had ever lived in, custom built, bought it in May of 2023. I bought it 6.5 months ahead of schedule because I kept hope alive. I kept speaking. I kept coaching. I kept podcasts. I kept getting on podcasts. I kept doing things. I kept moving, all these things. And now here
Hmm.
I am, 43. I have 50-50 custody of my daughter. I'm single. I'm dating. I'm trying to like get myself back out there, which is not easy.
It's
And just
not easy.
and trying to adjust to the whole process and all that. And I have my team and I have my people and I'm always working. And I mean, I'm on this awesome podcast, starting at 6:15 at night. I got to do another call at 7. I have to do another call at 8. I've been up since 6. Or no, I'm sorry, I've been up since 4, right? But
It
again,
sounds about right.
that's the whole process of keeping stuff alive. I want people to know that life is not going to be straight line. It's not. I mean, I did not plan on getting divorced. I thought I had my partner for life. That's what I thought. I didn't plan on moving into a broken down, outdated, poorly furnished apartment, but I had to. I didn't plan on having to, take care of so much debt in such a small amount of time, but I did it. So if you're listening, you can do it too. Whatever that is, if it's getting that job, if it's starting that podcast, if it's going to the next level, if it's getting that sponsor, if it's, making that phone call, whatever it is, you can do it too. If I can do it, so can you.
Yeah. And like you said, you have a brain, you can use it. And that's what you said. You know, we'll hit rough spots in life, but we have to change. Take a look at what your pros are, your cons, and your vision board, and just go for it. It's a risk that you need to take. And sometimes they'll go really well, and then boom, 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 succeed. When somebody came to me and said, "Oh, I thought your meeting was on a podcast. I really wanted to see you." I was like, no, I never really thought of podcasts, but years ago, I tried to start a company called Webcast, and it was video commercials of different vendors. And it was going to be kind of platform like a YouTube thing where people can go visit and, get pricing right away. It was just too expensive. And so that ball started rolling around, and I was like, wow, what would I do with a podcast? What is my niche? Am I wanting to just help event planners in the hospitality industry? And I remember I was at the doctor's and they asked any new things happening. I go, yeah, somebody mentioned I should do a podcast. Oh, I want to be on your podcast. And I was like, I'm at the doctor's like all the time. I'm just like, okay, well, I have another person came. I'm a life coach. I want to be on that show. And it wasn't even created yet. Out of the blue, an angel appeared. And I swear to God, he is an angel. But all I did was listen to a wonderful man tell his story. And he was like, at the end, he goes, I didn't even say who I was to you. I'm sorry. I just kept talking. And, thank you for listening. And I said these words, you never know when you're sitting next to an angel. You're in my prayers. I go, you never know. One day there might be a podcast. Well, the next Tuesday, because this karaoke comes back in, and I watch a lot of soap operas, and I'm like, uh-oh. He had a white envelope, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. He's like, can I sit with you? And I was like, sure. And it felt like my angels were sitting there going, oh my gosh, what are you gonna do? And I was like, okay, maybe it's nothing, I was kind of freaked out. But he goes, it's like you're a daughter to me. I'm an old man. I'm just working. You made a comment about podcasts. I want to help you like you helped me because you listened to me last week. And ever since his loved one passed, it's a long story. He was able to move on and be able to change that qualities in his life. But he met somebody new. And from what I know, they're in love. They are so happy. And I just look at that going, oh my gosh, but he invested into me and helped me get stuff. Like he looked up all the podcast gear, what I need, and he's, I want to get you this laptop and the money to put and help to be heard, people around the world. So I looked back at that journey and it was, yeah, I never thought I wanted to do this, but I know I have it in me and I love it. I love this. Keep Hope Alive came from a song I honestly didn't know. Like, I was thinking, what am I going to name it if doctors want to be on it? And the guy I was dating, he put on crystal method in the car and it said, Keep Hope Alive. And I was like, by Nadine. That's it. Like, Keep Hope Alive by Nadine. Nobody really has my name out there, you know? So that's how it got born. And here we are today, got some really good sponsors and the best of guests on this show. And I'm just feeling blessed. But you can always do it if you set your mind to stuff. It may come as a surprise.
Always, it always can be done as long as you are not holding you back.
Exactly, exactly. So it's up to us how far we take it and roll on it. And I mean, let's dig back a little bit farther with you. So I know my son plays football and his coach is amazing. And Liam actually did some courses about boys growing up, how to tie a tie, etiquette, and he really teaches the boys how to be a man, which I love. And when you were saying football is a business, I agree with that 100%. So, did you want to talk about your NFL times?
Yeah, I mean, the NFL was great. Like I said, being drafted by the Jaguars, playing with great guys like Fred Taylor and Marcus Stroud, John Henderson, and going to Baltimore, playing with my brother Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs. All Hall of Famers, all great guys, and going to Buffalo, playing with my good friend Willis McGahee, playing with guys like Eric Moulds. Jason Peters, who's actually still playing in the NFL today with the Seahawks, playing at right tackle, which he's doing phenomenal, to then going to Tennessee, playing with guys like Vince Young, Michael Griffin, Brian Arakpo, Albert Hainsworth. Being around the game of football was phenomenal. And it taught me a lot about teamwork, taught me a lot about discipline, taught me a lot about accountability, taught me a lot about showing up. To stay in the National Football, you have to show up every day and you can't take plays off. I saw a player on the 49ers, they were talking about maybe benching him because they can tell he takes plays off during the game. And, that kind of stuff disrupts a football team. Just like in life, you can't take plays off when you're working in the corporate America, or you're part of a team, or you're trying to help a company grow, or you're trying to be an awesome team member. You can't take plays off. You can't do that right now.
Yeah.
If you're on vacation and it's a schedule, like if you're playing in the game and you're on defense and offense on the field, rest, take time off. Like you're in
Yeah.
corporate America, get a vacation, re-energize, recharge, great. But just like in football, when you're on the field, you don't take plays off. You got to hustle. Like me, I go to the gym every day. Why go to the gym to like just walk around or not run or not lift hard or, not do new core? Now I'm on a 90-day, no alcohol, no fast food. I can eat out, but like steak or like a restaurant, not a McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy, like no fast food. And doing my core, different types of core, every day for 90 days. I'm on day like 25, right? I have not had alcohol in 25 days. It feels great, right? And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, then do it, right?
Yeah.
So the NFL taught me that, like, it's just like Nike, just do it. Like, don't
Do
talk
it.
about it. Don't think you're going to have to like get everybody to believe everything you're trying to say. Just do it. Just get it
Mm-hmm.
done. Just be like, yo, I'm here. Boom, let's go. So if you're listening to this, don't talk about it, be about it, right? Don't
Yeah.
talk about what you're going to do the action. Don't just be strategic saying, well, I plan to do this. Don't have a phenomenal blueprint. Say, oh, I'm going to go get this done. Here's my blueprint. You have a blueprint, you're not acting on it, you're not being tactical, it's no good. I have a saying, knowledge is power, but
Mm-hmm.
applying knowledge is life changing, period.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree on that. That's good advice. So, I mean, from doing the keynote speaker part of it, where have you been to do your speakings?
Oh, I've been all over. I mean, we've spoken for 55 Fortune 500 brands in the last 8 years. Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, Home Depot, Equitable, New York Life, MetLife, Liberty Mutual Insurance, Siemens, Cisco, NetApp, you name it, Mutual of Omaha, there are all these Carson Group, we've been so blessed. Finance
Yeah.
companies, insurance companies, real estate companies, mortgage companies. The state of South Dakota is one of our clients. We work for the state where we help them with, we did their leadership conference last year in Pierre, South Dakota. We're doing some training with them. We are talking to companies like Precision Auto Tune. We're talking to companies like Utility Contractors Association. We're on the radar for Mid-American Energy to got a big job coming up in Cabo with 1,000 Mile Travel. Got a big job coming up in Minneapolis with Center Space Homes. We're constantly on the go and we love it. And like I tell everybody, this didn't happen overnight, right? This didn't happen, oh, here I am, bam, boom. No, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of effort. It was a lot of getting things done. There's a lot of being told no. It's a lot of
Mm.
saying, Marcus, it's not the right opportunity. It's not the right time. You don't have enough credibility. You don't have the right message. And you know what? All those no's led me to where I'm at today for being a better person. So I always tell everybody, no means next opportunity, or just keep it moving, right? Don't
Yeah,
stop. When you stop, that's when bad things happen.
exactly. If you're on a roll, don't let it. And things like an evil will try to stop you too. Watch out for that. Put your
Always,
shield up and be like, not today.
yeah, evil or people trying to hate on you,
Yep.
non-believers, people telling you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough,
Yeah.
you're not, you hear it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I went through a couple things while starting the process of it. So, I'm going to bring it aware, if
Mhm.
evil is telling you or trying to stop you, you've got to be that warrior and go, you're not raining on my parade. I'm in charge. It's
There you
up to
go.
me.
Yeah,
So,
same way, same way. You can't allow things to hold you back. You can't
yeah.
allow things to negativity to get into your mind. If you do, bad things it's gonna keep coming your way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's all about energy too. You got to put out a good energy, and show that you're worth it. And don't ever have that negative energy bringing yourself down because that's not what it's about. And I think you said something, we could be here doing our jobs, but people don't know what we're going through, in the back end. It could be health, it could be job financial, but we come to front to talk and it's rewarding. I love it. I
Mhm.
love having people on the show so they can be heard too. It's just that's the reward in life. um Definitely, I just want to make sure I cover everything that you do because I know you also wrote a book. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yep, I've written two best-selling books on my own: Sleepless Nights, The NFL, A Business and a Family, and then The Success Cycle. And then I co-authored two other books that were bestsellers: The Volume of Leadership, and then Pivots, Persistence, and Game Changers. And so we are a four-time best-selling author. We are very fortunate in that regard. Love helping people with our strategies, with the book, with the content, with the delivery, with what they need to hear to get to that next level. Some action steps along with great stories. And I hope people are listening to this. I am not a motivational speaker. A motivational speaker speaks into you for the short term and gets you like rah, 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 but it's just a story with no action steps or no guidance or no intellectually stimulating thoughts. I am an inspirational keynote speaker. I'm going to entertain you with stories. I'm going to have some humor. I'm going to tell some anecdotes. I'm also going to give you action steps that you can utilize in your own life to move forward. So that's what it's all about. And people love it. And we're very fortunate in that regard. And it's all about getting you to the next level. And because of that, we're really blessed to have these books that have been great to help us get on more stages, to people
Mm.
buy books. I actually have a job in Minneapolis. They're buying 150 books for their audience. I had a job I did for a Wholesome Building Envelope that was in Nashville. They bought 250 books for their audience. So it's all about being that entertaining individual that brings the whole gamut forward of storytelling, anecdotes, and action steps.
Yay. Look at you. That is so good. Definitely. And you also have a podcast that you do.
Yes. Yes. It's called Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. We're in the top 0.5% most popular podcast worldwide. We've interviewed some amazing guests from celebrities to athletes to entertainers to business leaders to executives, and people love it. And we've been very fortunate to grow a large fan base of individuals that people love our show. And we're constantly always wanting to find people that are authentic, willing to share their stories and be real, because the whole premise of our show is helping people get through hard times. You can listen to it on Apple or Spotify, Google, iHeart, Stitcher, Pandora, YouTube, Amazon, you name it. And again, Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. And Nadine, we have the Marques Ogden app. So if you have an Apple phone or an Android, go to your app store, type in my name, MarquesOgden, and the app will pop right up. You can follow our podcast on there, exclusive free content. We're all about engaging our audiences.
Good, good. I love that. And I love that you're one of our sponsors for Keep Hope Alive. That's amazing. So, definitely. So when you're listening to this, you jump over and listen to his podcast. That's going to be very motivational and good.
Well, I
Amazing.
appreciate you
So,
having me on. I really appreciate it.
oh my gosh, of course. I mean, you're helping the world as much as I am. You're giving this bigger, beautiful light, and I just love having you around, for this. So, you're not shy to be on a stage or anything. You're a free spirit, I can tell. And just providing that information out there is so important. Now, when you talk about the success cycle, basically from your book. I know Sleepless Nights is no work. I mean, I go to bed, I can't sleep at night because my brain's going a mile a minute, wanting to start all these new companies. And I'm like, Doc, how do I shut it down? I can't sleep. I need a whiteboard. Um, so when you say this success cycle, what does that mean?
It talks about three major keys to be successful:
Uh-huh.
ambition, drive, and hard work. So we really focus on ambition, knowing what your purpose is in life, drive, which is all about being inspired over motivated, and hard work. Focus on yourself and not the competition. So those are the three
Yes.
keys that make up the success cycle.
Nice. Thank you for explaining that. So, definitely on your free time, what do you do for fun? I mean, you're working all the time.
I like to play poker. I like to go to movies. I go to the gym. I play basketball. I like to travel. I like to look at different things going on, with art or music. Yeah, so I'm kind of I'm a guy. I like going to theater at times. Broadway and all that kind of good stuff.
That is so cool. Definitely. So, I mean, I want everybody to come and check out your book too. I'm going to be adding it to, I have a storefront on my page also. So we'll be adding that information. And when this gets up, of course, we're going to have all your information to your podcast, to your book buying, everything. So follow him on all his socials, which you're probably on TikTok, Instagram, and all that.
You know
I
it.
love. I love Linktree all of a sudden. Linktree has become my favorite, and TikTok, I noticed. I had my 11-year-old son show me TikTok. He's like, "Well, this is what you do, Mom." And I'm like, "Okay." And I can be goofy and I want people to see the real me too. It's not all prim and proper. Of course, there's bloopers.
That's all about being authentic.
Yes, it sure is. So definitely. Well, I hope I covered everything. I mean, you're the founder of your own company that's doing well, author. Oh my gosh. When you say it's a keynote, but you're providing all this fun and you're being yourself, that's what matters because people are going to take away better notes on how to do things and how to see that vision of don't give up. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm so happy for you, of course. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you're going to have to interview me next, right?
That is correct. You're coming on our show. That is right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on our show. Um, so wherever you guys find your podcast, you're going to be able to find Keep Hope Alive. And our website is www.keephopealivepodcast.com. But really quick, I would like to thank our other sponsors. And you always know I read Marcus off already, but just a refresher. Well, Marcus is our sponsor. And I'll put all his stuff up for this show. As I mentioned before, lifeonrecord.com, they do the interactive guest book with the rotary vintage phone. So check them out. We also have, let me see if I can show it. Yeah, there it is. Snap bands. You've probably seen them on Facebook. They did one
Oh,
called Hope for
I
me.
like
They
that. I
are going
like
to
it.
be our new sponsor as well. So check them out. I'm going to spell this one. It's www. Snap is spelled SNAPP, and then bands BANDZ.com. But there's a science behind it, which is really cool. It's supposed to help reduce anxiety, OCD, depression, and it works with cognitive thinking also. So we'll be talking to them this week as well on the show. Our next one is bridalshowsinc.com. If you're planning a special event, and I don't really say all states. I mean, I was at the bridal show last weekend and there was people from Florida and all these different states, but they do trade shows. So you can go out there, meet all the different vendors, see their showcase, get pricing, and boom, you got a great vendor all ready for your big event. Our next one is milesandSmilesEvents.com. Miss Deborah Rose. Her background is investigation. She also does handwriting analysis and lipstick readings. She's bringing this to events. The one thing about Deborah Rose, she's accurate, like really accurate. So call her, reach out to her. She'll put this big event together to cater around that too. And it's really amazing. Our next one is Bryce Harney, www.brycemagic.com. Bryce is a magician, a mind mentalist. He's been on a lot of the TV stations doing it. He does big corporate events and churches and everything. But he's wonderful to have at an event, and not just an event. He does church events. I like that. And he puts the scripture lesson into the magic deck. So it's very nice. Our next one is richmondpunch.net. Graduated from the Juilliard. He is a violinist. He's been in business, I guess, for over 30 years. He's performed in front of 1 million people before. He had 2 spots on Lifetime shows to play the violin as well. So check him out. Our next one is TK Hair Salon. You can see how I got blonde hair to hide my gray. But if you are in the Texas area, you can visit them at www.tkhairsalon.com. And they do men, women, children's hair, updos, coloring, perms, and the face, whatever you need waxing. So Remember that if you have any questions for Marcus or myself, you can always call 833-780-HOPE, which is 4673. So once again, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on the show. And it's a pleasure talking to you face to face, finally.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Nadine.
Oh, thank you guys. Until our next show, mwah, love and light.